Today, we're diving into an ancient blueprint, a map not of this world, but of the soul's journey after this life. Now, forget everything you think you know about some vague heaven or hell. What we're looking at today is a specific, powerful passage from the Zohar that lays out a highly structured, almost architectural reality where every single soul finds its perfect place. So the first thing you have to understand is that nothing is random. The Zohar paints a picture of a universe with profound, unshakable order. The soul isn't just, cast out into some chaotic void. No, it is meticulously guided to a destination that has been prepared specifically for it, a spiritual environment that resonates perfectly with the life it lived and the choices it made. Okay, so that's the big question, right? How is this place actually determined? If the afterlife is such an ordered reality, what are its rules? What's the architecture? Well, the Zohar doesn't just ask these questions, it literally gives us the blueprint. What we're about to see is what you could call a doctrine of spiritual classification. And this isn't about some arbitrary judgment coming down from on high. Not at all. It's a system of pure resonance. A soul is placed in the palace, the Heichal, that perfectly, absolutely matches its frequency. And today we're taking a guided tour of the first 5 of these incredible chambers. So here's our itinerary for this journey. First, we'll cover the soul's next chapter. Then we'll visit Palace 1, called Kingdom's Gate, before moving through the Chambers of Becoming, which actually house a few different types of souls. We'll then see the home for the pious, and after that, we're going to zoom out to see the whole system architecture. And finally, we'll bring it all back home to your inner palaces. All right, the journey in this world is complete. The soul has departed the physical body. So, what happens next? Well, it arrives at the entrance of this vast spiritual complex. The Zohar gives us a map to what it calls the Heichalot, these celestial palaces or chambers. Now you have to get this. These are not just vague heavens or hells. They are distinct, they are purposeful, and they are highly specialized spiritual dimensions, each one calibrated to house a very specific kind of soul, a specific state of consciousness.
All right, let's step into our first destination. This is the entry point, the very first palace, and it's reserved for a very particular and really powerful group of souls.
Just imagine this for a second. We're approaching a vast chamber, and radiating out from it is a light that is utterly new, brilliant, and pure. It's not some ancient soft glow. No, this is vibrant. It's pulsing with the energy of a monumental decision. This is the palace for the souls of righteous converts, and its very atmosphere mirrors the powerful spiritual light that comes from making that conscious, life-altering choice to enter the covenant. So, what is a Heichal exactly? The word itself means palace or chamber, but we really have to think beyond physical buildings. In Kabbalah, a Heichal is a distinct spiritual dimension. It's a container for a specific quality of divine light, and it represents a unique state of consciousness. It's an environment that is perfectly suited to the souls within it. Okay, now for the really cool part, the deep-level secret, the Sod. If we were to translate this into modern terms, think of the whole system like a kind of cosmic cloud computing. Each Heichal is like a dedicated server environment. When a soul arrives, its spiritual user profile is read, and it is instantly directed to the environment that has the right experiences, the right processing pathways, all prepared for it. And it's all happening within one unified system. Let's break down the spiritual physics here. The soul type is the righteous convert, the Gerrit Tzedek. Their spiritual frequency, their alignment, is with Malkut, or kingdom. Their defining quality? Well, it's the act of entering the covenant. And all of this is perfectly reflected in the palace's light, brand new and absolutely brilliant. So why Malchut? Well, think of Malchut, or kingdom, as the sphera that represents our reality. It's the final sphere that receives divine energy from all the higher realms. The righteous convert embodies this perfectly. They make a conscious choice to leave some outside reality and enter the system, becoming a brand new vessel for that divine flow. So of course, this palace, the ultimate gateway, perfectly mirrors their own journey of crossing that spiritual threshold. Leaving that brilliant light of the first palace behind, we now enter a wing of the system that houses a much more diverse group of souls. Each one is defined by a different stage of life or a different kind of spiritual struggle. And immediately, the atmosphere shifts dramatically. The light is no longer that brilliant, sharp light of a new choice.
Instead, it's a soft, gentle, totally encompassing luminescence. This is a place of innocence, of pure potential. This chamber is for the souls of children who passed from the world before they ever had a chance to make their mark.
These souls are defined by pure innocence, and their spiritual alignment is Chesed, unconditional loving kindness. Now, why is that? It's because Chesed is the sephira of pure, expansive, unadulterated love, kind of like the potential energy of the cosmos before it's been shaped by will or by deed. Their untarnished state just resonates perfectly with this raw kindness, and they're housed here under the care of the angel Azrael, protected within this gentle light.
And then we move on and everything changes again. This next chamber, it isn't steady at all. The light actually flickers, shadows dance, and then retreat. There's this sense of dynamic tension of a process that is still very much underway. This is the palace for the Ba'alei Teshuvah, those who are in the process of repentance, whose lives were defined by that constant struggle between falling and getting back up again. So the key word here is process. Their defining quality is struggle, and their Sephirotic alignment reflects this just perfectly. They're connected to Gevura, which means strength and even harsh judgment, representing the rigor of self-correction, but they're also connected to Tiferet, beauty and harmony, which is the balanced state they are striving so hard to achieve. Their reality, their chamber, is that very flicker between the two poles. It's a place of becoming. Now, the last chamber on this part of our tour, it feels completely different. It's profoundly still, solemn, heroic. A deep, steady, crimson light glows from within. This isn't a light of struggle or innocence. It's a light of immense power, of ultimate sacrifice. This is the palace reserved for the martyrs, for those who gave their lives for the sanctification of the divine name. The soul profile of the martyr is one of enduring sacrifice. Their ultimate act of faith aligns them with the Sephirot of Netzach and Hod. Netzach means victory and endurance. It's the spiritual victory over the physical. And Hod means splendor and glory. You see, their sacrifice is not an end. It is transformed into an eternal spiritual state of victorious splendor. Their final act becomes their everlasting essence. So you see this perfect alignment in these chambers, right? The purity of children aligns with chesed, loving kindness. The struggle of penitence resonates with that tension between Gevura, judgment, and Tiferet, harmony. And the sacrifice of martyrs is literally transformed into the eternal victory of Netzah and Hod. It's a perfect system. All right, let's proceed to the fifth palace on our tour. This one is reserved for souls whose defining quality wasn't a single dramatic act, but rather a lifetime of consistent, unwavering righteousness. The feeling in here, it's one of deep, abiding peace and warmth. The light is steady, it's mature, it's radiant. It doesn't have the brilliant newness of the first palace or the flickering of the third. No, this is the accumulated light of a lifetime of devotion, of countless small acts of goodness and connection. This is the home of the tzaddikim, the truly pious. The key quality of the tzaddik is devotion. Now, their Sephirotic alignment is also chesed, loving kindness, just like the children, but it's a totally different expression of it. This is a refined chesed. It isn't the passive innocence of a child. This is an active, conscious, and cultivated loving kindness that has been practiced and perfected over an entire life. It's mature, it's been tested, and it is complete. Okay, we've just visited 5 very distinct spiritual environments. Now it's time to zoom out. We need to pull the camera back and really understand how these individual chambers fit into the grand design of the cosmos. So far, we've toured 5 distinct palaces, each one perfectly calibrated for a specific category of soul: the convert, the child, the penitent, the martyr, and the pious. Each one represents a unique spiritual frequency, a different life story written into the very fabric of the cosmos. But, and this is the key, these 5 are not the whole story. The Zohar reveals that they are actually part of a larger system of 7 palaces in the lower spiritual realms. And understanding this number, 7, is the key to seeing the full picture of this incredible cosmic architecture. This really shows how it all fits together. The 5 palaces we've just explored form the core of this 7-chamber system. The other 2 are higher connecting palaces, gateways to even more refined states of being. What we have seen are the foundational chambers, where souls are initially sorted based on the life they lived. So, the most important point is this. The Zohar is presenting a doctrine of spiritual alignment. This is not about reward and punishment in some simple, cartoonish sense. This is a system of resonance. A soul isn't sent to a place, it is drawn to the environment that perfectly matches its own inner state, its life's accumulated choices, struggles, and spiritual achievements. To make this complex idea a little more accessible, let's try two different analogies. For the gamers out there, think of it like a massive online video game. Each palace is a zone for a specific character type. You've got the new players, the protected starting areas, the characters grinding to level up, legendary heroes in the Hall of Fame, and high-level players in the endgame. But if you think like an engineer, it's more like cosmic engineering. The palaces are role-based environments, and the soul's life creates a user profile that grants access to very specific processing layers. So what's the purpose of this incredibly sophisticated system? The ultimate goal is tikkun, spiritual rectification or repair. Some souls, like the fully pious, they might arrive complete. But for many, especially those in that flickering palace of the penitents, this is not a final destination. It's a workshop. It's an environment designed to facilitate the next stage of their repair process. And for souls that are still very incomplete, this is just one stage in a much longer journey that can include Gilgul or reincarnation, all part of this dynamic, ongoing process of cosmic healing. Now, we've come to the final and, I think, the most important part of our journey. We've seen this incredible cosmic architecture. But what on earth does it have to do with us? Right here, right now. Well, here's the deepest secret of all. This external map is actually a blueprint for our own internal spiritual development. Each and every one of these celestial palaces represents a state of consciousness, a spiritual capacity that we can and should be building inside ourselves in this lifetime. So, how do we build these palaces within ourselves? First, we build the palace of covenant, of Malchut, by consciously committing to our spiritual path. Second, we build the palace of innocence, of Chesed, by cultivating a pure heart and good intentions. Third, we build the palace of struggle, Gevurah and Tiferet, by embracing challenges as part of our own refinement process. Fourth, the palace of sacrifice, Netzach and Hod, is built when we find real meaning in giving to a higher cause. And finally, the palace of piety, that refined Chesed, is built through a consistent, daily practice of devotion. This ancient map from the Zohar reveals a cosmos that is not chaotic or arbitrary, but profoundly structured, deeply meaningful, and ultimately just. It shows us that every choice, every struggle, and every single act of devotion matters and has its place. So the ultimate question it leaves us with isn't about where we will go after this life, but about what we are creating within ourselves right now. Which inner chamber are you building today? Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.